It is July 30. We're going into August. Oh, I don't know. Seventh month of the year, eighth month of the year, then the ninth and the 10th, and so much is going to be happening, and I'm sure it's going to be all fabulous and good, especially with the election coming up and the economy that's apparently Americans feel like it's improving. Oh, yeah, we've got a lot to look forward to. Not. It is July 30, 2024. Okay, Alicia DeMoss, analog synth player. Hello, Justin Wynn. Hi. Hope your job is A-OK. Tony Punch. Hello, Tony Punch. It's storming here, right below New Orleans. Huh. Okay. I saw a little blip, just a little blip, on radar. And then reading your comment, it's storming. Yeah. Even the little blips, you get a whole lot of very dangerous storms. Andrew Cruz, hello. Sandra Pillar Gill, hi. And Rage Against the Machine. Shauna Howard, Barb in Ohio. Julio, hello. Miss Blanche, hello. Jane Northrop. T. Port Angeles, too, hey. Thanks for saying hello to my cats. That's your trademark, T. Port Angeles. I hope you're doing well. Oracle 11, Sith Trish, James B. Hell is for the dead. We've got hell right here. Right here. We're living it. Cecilia Amirati, hope you're doing a little better. I say a little better because a whole lot of people are dealing with an awful lot. An awful lot. And from day to day, I'm not going to say, I hope everything has been resolved and you're just blossoming in hell. No, it doesn't work that way. Mama Rages, thank you very much. And there's Delilah. She really is a sweetheart. And very pretty. Okay, so who else do we have? Awakened Sleeper, hello. And Super Painting 62, Morty Bruiser. Well, let's just say I think the stupidity has overwhelmed the intelligence, if there is any left. Stacy, hello. Ray Clay, hello. Florida, you guys get so much severe weather. AJ206, Steve Ladner. Time really is flying by. It's almost scary, but it's especially almost scary as you grow older. Let's look at radar. Here, the little blips for Tony Punch. Even these little nanobot blips can bring about destructive storms. And boy, look at these storms. Illinois, Indiana, North Dakota, South Dakota again, panhandle of Oklahoma, and Florida, and Virginia, and Pennsylvania, and boy, I didn't know that Vermont got blasted with destructive weather, which we will get into. At the extremely low frequencies, off the coast, well, into Southern California. Extremely low frequencies have a distance of 300 miles. So they can do an awful lot of destruction in a very large area. South Georgia is not looking very good, but look at this. Look at this. It's what are we looking at? We're looking at a row of supercells that are bouncing. Some are bouncing up north, while the others extinguish. Oh, the weirdness. The weirdness of nanotechnology and artificial intelligence in radar. Yes, that is my opinion. But North Georgia doesn't look very good, and Tennessee doesn't look very good. Right here in North Carolina, the west North Carolina, and into South Carolina. Look at these that manifest, well, with an immediacy that, oh my God, we need to do some destruction here in South Carolina. And Florida, you just have the weirdest where these storms come from. Now, they were coming in from the East Coast every single day, not too long ago. Now, what? They're diving in from the north, taking a southerly direction, or all of these storms seem to be stopping right at the coastal border. None of it is natural. So there was a tornado alert just recently, but good, it's gone, but not good because you still have the severe weather. Georgia, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, North Carolina, North Dakota, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, and Wisconsin. Okay. Go, weather terrorist. I'm not going to read all of this again. I will link, and you can actually read the full warning, but you can read on that page, not just, because they list the counties, in this column, but they also go right into the local, like here, South Dakota. Hacken and Jackson, 4 miles south of Cherry Creek, 2 miles southeast of Quinn. Okay, so Bamberg and Orangeburg in South Carolina, Ward in North Carolina, Crawford, Perry, Indiana, Hancock, Kentucky, Cleveland, Gaston, North Carolina, Davidson, Robinson, Sumner, Tennessee, Burke, Richmond, Aiken, Georgia, and South Carolina. Is it Aiken, Georgia? Isn't there an Aiken, South Carolina? I'm not sure. And Barnwell, Carroll, Douglas, Paulding counties in Georgia. And the list, whoa, alrighty. A whole lot of severe weather. And it's not good. It really is not good. So you guys in those areas, pay very close attention, because severe weather today, these supercells can bring about tornadic activity, straight line winds, microbursts, baseball-sized hail, flash flooding, and a whole lot of people are experiencing the destructive force. So it's very good to pay close attention and be ready, to leave at a moment's notice. All right, the fires. It's very upsetting. Every day there's more and more fires. There are more fires in Colorado. more fires in California. It's ongoing. So northern Colorado residents concerned as Alexander Mountain fire burns.
Gabby, let's start with you. Many people you spoke with today are praying their homes are still going to be there when this fire is out.
Yeah, Karen, definitely a lot of prayers are being had tonight, and you can see where that closure is on Highway 34 at the start of Estes Park. This is where people are not being allowed to pass through into the mountains. They're being actually diverted to Mall Road right now if they are trying to make their way in this area. But otherwise, people are being evacuated here to the event center. And for those that had to evacuate earlier today, they're telling me that they're counting their blessings despite not knowing what's to come next.
I'm in shock. You know, you just see, we live our lives as everything's going to be normal.
A Monday afternoon intensified to anything but normal.
Well, I bought clothes, you know, a pair of sandals and my important papers.
As people like Pat Maslowski packed all their belongings and evacuated their homes.
When I was driving down our access road in Drake, I could look over to the east and north, and I saw just huge clouds.
Trying to get my stuff and get out of here, I guess.
As billowing clouds of smoke accumulated over Alexander Mountain.
Luckily, we're upwind from the fire a bit, but hopefully it doesn't spread to my house.
Towns along Highway 34 checked and cleared out by police.
Planning on just riding it out, but it got too close, and police came up the driveway and said, "Nope, you have to go."
For those ordered to evacuate, some made their way to shelter here at the Estes Park event complex.
This is just life in the mountains. It's part of what we've got to deal with.
Jason
Bullshit. It's not just life in the mountains. If this was life in the mountains, why would people move to the mountains to live? Life in the mountains doesn't mean well, maybe that's the programming, right? So this guy looks like maybe he's in his 40s. So yeah, I have trouble when I hear people say, well, this is just what, happens, and we just have to deal with it when the homes are floating by. Yeah. This is not the kind of weather or fires that we experience. Yes, of course, there was floods. Yes, of course, there were wildfires that took out homes. This is a whole new ball game. Yeah.
and Tatenhoven has covered several mountain fires in the past, working as a journalist in Estes Park.
It's just getting harder and harder to deny that there's a shift in the climate, and until we change things, it's just going to continue to.
The programming of climate change. That head doesn't think for itself. That brain inside this head, this red cap, is a programmed brain to believe everything that mainstream media and government officials tell it to believe.
To get worse.
While some evacuees worry whether they'll get to come back to a home.
I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking pretty much about right now.
Others are feeling grateful for their safety and learning from the experience.
Be prepared. I mean, and reach out to your neighbors. I know I reached out to some of my friends that are within the evacuation area.
When we spoke to the
and there are sure a lot of them up here. Now this community, they know what to do because they've done this so many times before, but experience doesn't always make it easier.
A little frantic, a little scary, but people are helping as much as they can.
In times of crisis, we're stronger than we think. Tara's never lifted a donkey, at least not before today.
I got the call from a friend of mine. I don't know the people who have these horses, but when you have a truck and trailer, you volunteer to help when you can.
By sunset, the ranch had taken in over 80 donkeys, alpacas, and horses. The fire had them nervous too.
Some of these animals have never been put in trailers, never been put in cages.
Deputy Nancy Remington says the county brought victim advocates to comfort owners. No animals arrived injured, but evacuees aren't sure about the ones still at home.
It's scary trying to figure out what are you taking.
Janelle didn't have room for her chickens to make the trip.
We just had to cram everybody in the trailer and hope nobody got stepped on.
4-H kids in the fair jumped into action while volunteers built stalls to make room for new guests.
I just need you to take these, go all the way around the stalls.
In a hot, dry summer, this group knows they can bet on fire and always bet on each other.
I hope somebody would do that for us if we were in the situation.
this is what people are living. You know, the evacuations, especially in areas that are horse areas or livestock areas, I think a lot of people in those areas that have trucks and, you know, can help out, they do help out. And if anybody doesn't help out, what is wrong with you? Stone Canyon fire burning near Lyons grows to 85 acres. This is also Colorado. This is not the fire that you just, you know, viewed. Alexander Mountain fire. This is a new fire, Stone Canyon fire. It already got one house, at least one home.
This one broke out, gosh, not too long ago.
Not at all. Just over an hour ago was when the first initial reports came out from Boulder, the Boulder County Sheriff. This video is really difficult to see, something we've sadly seen too many times before here in Colorado, of what appears to be a home, at least a couple vehicles that are now destroyed and lost in this Stone Canyon fire that started just before 2 o'clock today. We know that Boulder County Sheriffs, they've responded very quickly. We also know that there has been an attack by firefighters on the ground, but certainly from the air as well, to try to get these flames under control. This fire burning in the area of Lyons. We just heard from Andrew where he's explaining a lot of those evacuation orders that are in place, and you can understand why by looking at this video, why they're mandatory.
Right. Yeah. What we don't know, Kelly, and correct me if I'm wrong, is we don't know if these two fires are actually connected, right?
Sure.
We don't know if, you know, you can assume because Lyons isn't too far away, but it isn't directly tied to this vicinity. There is space and gaps between where there is no fire.
Right, exactly. And we were kind of, Andrew was highlighting that earlier, that there's enough space then for aerial crews to get in between. But it's great that you bring that up, Karen, because our reporter, your reporter, Gabriela Vidal, taking this video, sharing it on social media just a short time ago, where you can actually see both fires just based on the amount of smoke. The Alexander Mountain fire putting up quite a bit of smoke there on the right hand of your screen, and then you can see a bit of the darker smoke there on the left. That is coming.
Yeah, so is this going to become a complex fire? The fires that merge? Okay. This Stone Canyon fire, mandatory evacuations. It's so wow. It's so wow. San Diego County, a new fire.
On top of breaking news this afternoon as firefighters are battling a brush fire at the base of Tecate Park near the border. This fire started just after 11 a.m. It has now burned at least 300 acres.
Yeah, it's east of the 94 and 2.5 miles west of Highway 188. It started again just after 11 o'clock. It is being dubbed the Border 66 fire. It is now burning partially on the Mexico side of the border, and we've seen a number of aerial drops here as they try to contain those flames.
Yeah, worth noting, no homes in the immediate area, but on the Mexico side, where this fire is burning, is just about half a mile from where there are homes. So
I have a sticky button. I heard on a news broadcast, which kind of shocked me, 27,000 evacuated from the counties, that the Park Fire is still raging. There is some good news, which we'll get to. But here's the Nixon Fire, and evacuations are thousands under evacuation orders from this fire in Riverside County.
A wildfire in Riverside County has reached 3,700 acres and 1,000 homes are now under evacuation orders. NBC7's Dave Summers joins us from the thick of it all with the latest. Dave.
Mark and Catherine, Richard Enriquez has lived on this property for some 40 years, but after Nixon came through here, through his mobile home, there's literally nothing left to salvage. He gave us permission to be on the property, show the damage, give our viewers an illustration of what's really going on up here. It was his mobile home. You can tell that only by the fact that you can see the metal frame underneath and the tire rims. You see all of this aluminum collapse on top of it. And to make matters worse, Mr. Enriquez's sister bought him a brand new recreational vehicle, which was parked right here in the driveway, and it too was incinerated. Now, the fire came eastbound, which is this direction, and after it passed through Richard's property, it took a hard right and actually went around this mountain on the side here. And as you can see that glow just on the ridge, and it's off in the wilderness area right now, and this is really about as close as anyone's going to get to it. Neighbors on Bonnie Lane say they saw the fire coming. Firefighters say it started around 12:30 and got out as fast as they could. How many total homes have been destroyed has not yet been determined. We know of at least 7 in this neighborhood. There are.
That's my coffee maker. Borel Fire, forcing evacuation still. So this was the fire that I talked about for 2 nights, that I'm so shocked that it was like, oh boy, okay. In the Havilah, is the Havilah town in California, waking up in the morning to learn that the town was gone, hundreds of homes burned. Well, that fire continues. More evacuations in that area.
Kern County Sheriff Donnie Youngblood talked about the importance of evacuating and learning from history.
We don't want this to turn into the Paradise Fire where there's hundreds of people. We have to go back and remove bodies at the end of this. We hope that we can escape without any loss of life. That is the number one thing. It's not just the fire. There's no oxygen to breathe.
In the latest update from the Sequoia National Forest Service, the Boreal Fire is reported to be burning more than 53,000 acres with no containment.
Tonight we have full team coverage giving you a closer look at how this fire is affecting different parts of Kern County.
It was actually the county seat for Kern. During our time in Bodfish today, we caught up with one of the descendants from the first pioneers in Havilah.
When I was a kid, I was living in LA. I'd come up here and I thought I was in heaven.
Joe Adkins can trace his Havilah roots back decades. Adkins telling Eyewitness News his grandfather was a gold miner and a trapper during the foundations of the little mining community. While Adkins spent his formative years in town, he moved away to Los Angeles, but enjoyed every second he could spend in the mountain paradise since devastated by flames.
It's really sad. I mean, there are a lot of old memories up in there. When I went to school here at Kern Valley High, there's a lot of my friends that lived up there, and we'd go up there and just, it was a kid's heaven.
Now Adkins and his wife are trying to keep a slice of heaven for their 5-year-old granddaughter, Abby. The family creating signs outside their property, thanking fire crews and other first responders. But
evacuation.
So this is south of the Park Fire. This is close to Bakersfield. And you got the mandatory evacuations. You've got the evacuation warnings. And it's, I mean, what people are enduring on a daily basis is just really not fun. And we've got a whole lot of Americans enduring it from the East Coast to the West Coast as I speak.
The fire closely and hoping to not relive the scary moments of the French fire.
We always nervous, we always
we need to keep an eye and everything.
But everyone we spoke to had nothing but admiration for the first responders who risked their lives by going near the flames to try and save the people and structures threatened by this growing fire.
I tip my hat off to them for all the hard work that they're doing and saving our lives.
Those I spoke with say they're happy they left sooner rather than later.
An hour after I left, the sheriff went around because there was no electricity, no phone, went around knocking on doors and getting people.
What began as a fiery crash off Highway 178 in the canyon turned into a fire of over 5,000 acres, larger than the size of San Francisco's entire area. Dozens of people in neighborhoods surrounding the fire were warned that they needed to evacuate. Like Lorietta Hubbard, who lives in Walker Basin, now taking shelter at the Tehachapi Evacuation Center.
It's amazing how many destructive fires are caused by, well, the park fire, the guy that pushed the burning vehicle into a ravine or a swimming hole that didn't look like it had any water in it, and another major fire, car accident or...
And I'm older, and I felt it's better to take my animals and not worry. You know, when they say evacuate, I evacuate.
Hubbard was able to drive away from Walker Basin with her 3 cats and 2 dogs. She tells us as she's taking shelter, she hears the stories of those who already took a big impact from the fire. Something Cindy Hughey with the Red Cross echoes.
We have 2 families here that have lost everything from the Havilah fire, and it's sad.
She says the Red Cross is ensuring everyone's needs are being met.
They forgot their medication or lost their classes. Our nurse is taking care of all that.
And says their work doesn't stop there either. After the fire is put out, they continue to look after those impacted.
We bring in our caseworkers, and they work with each family one-on-one to meet their needs. So we do not close the doors.
Red Cross officials tell me that this area will be open for as long as needed.
Barb, Carol, very creepy. What is very creepy? Borel fire came to the doorstep of some homes, but passed them by. My first thought, nanotechnology in use. The GPSs coming right up to the front door, then they go another way.
Really a blessing because, like I said, it just missed the houses. It came right up to their back doors, and then it just left them. And they got their house, and everybody thought for certain their home was gone.
That's weird, isn't it? Okay, so Butte County evacuations. I was very happy to hear that the evacuation warnings were lifted for Magalia and Paradise, but this fire continues, and Chico is still okay, Magalia is okay, Paradise is okay for now. For now, you know, it's only 14% contained. So they whip up the winds again. That is what people now are living in these areas. But because I have subscribers in these areas, I was very happy to hear, you know, not happy to hear that it's only 14% contained. Park fire in California continues to grow. Butte and Tehama counties, it's now 383. Well, this was 5 hours ago, so some of these numbers may have changed. 192 structures. That could be businesses, it could be homes. So it still rages on. Cohasset family loses 6 homes in the park fire.
We don't have a place to go home to. We don't have a home. Kind of lost feeling. We don't have a place to go home to. We don't have a home. Kind of lost feeling.
A Cohasset family lost 6 homes to the Park Fire. You heard that right, half a dozen homes, and still they have not been able to go back to see what they can salvage. Looking ahead to next steps and community support.
Your reporter Madison Keevy joins us on set with the tragic toll this has taken on one family in particular, but what a great attitude they've had in the midst of loss.
Yeah, you know, they're saying that it could have been worse, and they feel so lucky to have a place to land, another extended family member's home in Chico. But they did lose everything, including some of their abilities to work, and now their focus is on what to do next. And it could be a while before insurance or state help kicks in, so they've turned to their community just to get by.
This was the fiery scene in Cohasset last Wednesday, before the Park Fire threatened 4 counties and cracked the state's top 10 largest fires in history. It ripped through Butte County.
When we found out our house was gone, it was just like, oh my gosh, what do we do next?
Alita Markwood's family lost 6 homes altogether. Her family home and her grandma's home are among the extended family with the same needs.
It's so many people that are now just trying to regroup, refine themselves, and see what can I do to get my life back on track as soon as possible.
They've turned to GoFundMe, specifically the nonprofit part of the company, GoFundMe.org, launched to get money into the hands of people impacted by natural disasters, like wildfires. In fact, you may have seen this billboard up in Sacramento. What would this money help your family do?
Get back to a state of comfort. Finding a place includes somehow getting to the places, which if you have a car, that means gas, right? So just the fees of finding a home.
The goal of this fund, to get money to the families fast. A company spokesperson says it can happen within 72 hours or sooner.
You just crave being at home, but you don't have a place to go. So it's just like, I don't know what to do. Trying to figure out what's next, take it one day at a time.
So the nonprofit side of the website has what they call verified fundraisers that happen during natural disasters like the Park Fire. A spokesperson tells me that they have a specific trust and safety team to monitor those fundraisers that go up after something like this to make sure that they're legit. So they've added these steps as we've seen more natural disasters like this.
Yeah, and
that's actually a similar thing that I wanted to start years ago, and you need people that you can trust. I didn't have them, and you really do need people to help you monitor it, make sure that the funds are going to the right people. But insurance companies, FEMA, Red Cross, hardly helps at all. That's why these kinds of local fundraisers are so critical. Because, I think, why am I getting so, wow, did you see how blurred I got? See that? I know the frequencies are bad. The frequencies are bad in this development, for sure. But that's what's needed. That's what's needed. For even people who are just local people to go down, to the shelters, to go down to where people are sleeping in their cars, and reach out to them and ask them what they can do and offer, to give them some help. Cecilia, you said something about a white cat. There is no white cat. Bookend, right here. That's might look white with the sun, but she's gray. I don't think you can see Babe. So, 6 homes. Wow. Oregon fire is a deliberate attack on cattle industry. They want the cows off the land. Just going to play a few minutes of Yanessa's video here. The link is in the chat. Yeah, a lot of fires in Oregon as well.
Keeping an eye on several wildfires burning around Oregon. First, the Cow Valley fire.
Crews are working around the clock to get Oregon's largest wildfire under control.
The Cow Valley fire, that fire is now 91% contained. It is now more than 133,000 acres. Fire officials say that it was human caused.
Fire officials say it is human caused.
This was started by a person, but the cause is still under investigation.
Hey guys, welcome back to As a Man Thinketh on Yanasa TV. So today I'm going to talk about some of what we've been seeing with these wildfires. They've been pretty devastating this year. I don't know if you guys watched our channel, but you've seen us travel through Jasper, Canada several times. That entire town pretty much was wiped out by wildfires this year. So the wildfires have been pretty intense, especially up in Oregon. There's something that I would like to just mention here, and that is, you know, a lot of people think that these wildfires are being caused by climate change or other factors, and that's why they've gotten so big in size. But the truth is that a lot of these wildfires are the size that they are because of, number one, invasive grass species that are growing on the plains and drying out, and you know, desertification, mismanagement of rangelands, but the actual cause, 80% of the fires are human-made. There was a guy in California this year that pushed a burning car into a ravine and caught 300,000 acres of land on fire. That's the Park Fire. If you haven't paid attention to that, it was just very odd. You know, he just casually pushed the car into the ravine on fire and then walked away. They've arrested that guy. I don't know if they've come out with a motive or what exactly he was doing, because it was just, to me, it's odd. People today in this country are doing very odd things. I mean, who?
Yeah, I'd say people are doing very odd things, behaving not in a way that we had ever seen before. All right, the link is in the chat, and you can hear about the deliberate attack on cattle industry in Oregon through fires. Let's just listen to a few minutes.
So cattle infrastructure for getting cows in and out of these lands, which makes it even more difficult. You know, if you have cows out there and the places where you bring your trucks in are on fire, you can't really bring the cows through the fire to the trucks. I think whoever did this was making a deliberate attack on the cattle industry in Oregon, and I think that there's a lot of potential motives that could have led somebody to want to do this. Real quick, if you do have any information on what started these fires, you can call 1-800-47-R.
Okay. Yeah. Link is in the chat. Fire rips through attic of Sacramento home. I'm just pointing out, as I do pretty much every live stream, there are so many homes that are going up in flames, so many apartment buildings, so many apartment complexes that are leaving people displaced on a daily basis.
At the top of the hour, fire crews working to contain an attic fire in Sacramento County.
CBS 13's Dave Grassoff is live on Northwood Road with a look at the progress right now. Dave, you said when you got on scene, flames were out of control.
Yeah, I'm showing you that shot right now because Sacramento fire crews just brought that woman's cat over to her. So there was a woman that was home at the time. There's the house right there. They're just currently bringing out some of the belongings, but she got out okay, and they just got her cat. So that's the good news in all this. But yes, when I got on scene, this is what it looked like. This is on Northwood Road, right in between Marconi and Whitney. Yeah, it was fully involved into the attic. So flames were shooting up pretty high. There was an adjoining house. The neighbors came outside. They were awoken by it, and yeah, they were obviously very nervous. Luckily, there's no wind out here right now, so it didn't get into their house. They were able to keep it to the single structure. But here's what the neighbor had to say when he woke up this morning.
Yeah, I just came out front. I heard chainsaws and saw the fire trucks and
Flames were up pretty high, probably about 6 feet over the roof of the house, so it was burning pretty hot. So just came outside because I was concerned.
But of course, they don't know what caused it. How about a vacant house explodes, bursts into flames in Westfield, New Jersey?
News: a quiet New Jersey suburb is rocked by an explosion overnight that sent a house up in flames. Neighbors in Westfield watched as a home was reduced to rubble. Derek Waller is live on the scene where he's talking to neighbors and sharing some incredible video of the fireball that destroyed the home. Derek.
Cindy, an absolutely unbelievable situation. Look behind me here on Tudor Place. You can see what's left behind here, and you have the roof of that house that is actually on the ground as firefighters and the gas company work to figure out exactly what happened here. We can show you some more video from overnight. A dramatic video. That fireball you see that house turned into around 10:15 last night here on Tudor Oval. A 3-alarm fire that engulfed that house. Neighbors say this home had actually been vacant for the last 15 years. So that is really adding to the mystery. Thank goodness nobody was inside the house. But by all accounts, this was an explosion. And again, as I mentioned, the gas company on the scene right now investigating. We did hear from some neighbors last night about what they heard. Here's a little bit of what one woman had to say.
About 10:15, we heard a loud boom explosion. It sounded like a car exploded out front, so we came out front to look at it, and it was behind us because we came to our driveway. We turned around and then saw flames and a neighbor screaming, to fire, call 911.
Alrighty. How about man saves neighbors from house fire? This is in Seattle, in Washington, but this is all just today, and there were more that I thought, if I'm going to be pulling these up, that's going to eat up about an hour of the live.
Firefighters then arrived and were able to put out these fires and stop them from spreading to any more homes. This morning, Michelle calls him her hero. Now, she says she had actually just changed the batteries in her smoke detector about a month or so ago, but because of the way that the fire moved, it hadn't gone off yet by the time Kyle got inside. So thankfully, he was able to get in there and get them out. Now, the fire is out this morning. Again, the exact cause still under investigation. We're live in Kirkland.
Of course. Man saves neighbors from house fire. I put it up twice. My God. All right, listen to this. Woman renovating home loses insurance over drone captured images of the clutter, the unsanitary conditions due to the renovations taking place.
Modesto viewer says her insurer dropped her over what it spotted from the air.
So it was time to call Curtis to investigate.
We wanted to know if insurance companies are putting up drones over neighborhoods looking for reasons to drop you. A 3+ year entire home makeover inside and out. The driveway transformed from this to this. The kitchen is now updated, and so is the bathroom. Several $100,000 in work.
What was it like to finally get the remodel work done?
It was amazing. It was wonderful because it took forever.
But then Joan Van Kuren got this from her home insurance company of nearly 4 decades. AAA was dropping her, citing a substantial increase in hazard with clutter or unsanitary conditions. The letter called it an unacceptable hazard and liability exposure. So Joan called them.
She said they flew a drone over the home. It just felt like we were being spied on. And there was debris on what they consider the left side of the home.
What's there? The final phase of the project, Joan says. An old planter filled with dirt, about to get some rocks, and a few old tires.
Did they give you any opportunity to fix this?
Absolutely not.
So they fired you?
Correct.
Out of curiosity, we zoomed into Joan's home on a Google Earth search. You could see the concrete work all around the house, and zipping around to the back, you could see the unfinished side yard with some clutter. When I reached out to AAA, the company denies it flies drones, saying it uses several sources of information to assess the condition of properties, including aerial imagery captured by third-party fixed-wing aircraft and satellites.
It's not their drone. It doesn't really matter, does it? No.
Consumer advocate Amy Bach with United Policyholders says ask to see the specific images your insurer is using to drop you so you could clear up any misconceptions.
Sometimes these images are blurry, assuming that the image is showing a damaged roof. What the drone picked up as damage was actually a solar panel.
Joan thinks she's paid AAA $80,000 over the years, including for her car insurance. But after this, she's now fired AAA, taking her car insurance business elsewhere.
The gentleman said to me, "Is there any conversation we could have to keep you?" I said to him, "There is absolutely no freaking way."
Well, AAA says if you disagree with their findings, you could submit your own documents and images.
You know what? People shouldn't even have to go through that. And drones. Okay, we've seen already people losing their insurance due to that drone spying on you. So get used to it, because this is the new world order, and eventually those drones will come at you, arrest you, kill you. You do know that that is the world that's coming, right? I hope so. Vermont. Overnight, Vermont gets hit again. Did I even say anything about Vermont in live stream last night? I don't believe so. I don't believe Vermont was even listed on the severe weather alert page. It doesn't mean that it wasn't listed after the live was ended, but look at the destruction, okay?
Threatening weather event continues in Vermont a year after the state dealt with the devastating flooding. Heavy rain is once again ravaging the region. Our NBC 10's Carla Rojo spoke with one woman impacted by all of this trouble.
Then I actually walked outside and looked up to the right, and it was apocalyptic. It's crazy. The road's gone.
Vanessa Allen is a St. Johnsbury, Vermont resident and one of the thousands impacted by the heavy rains and flooding in the Northeast Kingdom.
There's a road to the side of my house where an entire section of the road is gone. And while we're fine, we're trapped.
The hardest hit areas include Danville, Lyndonville, Morgan, Holland, Morgan Center, and St. Johnsbury. Reports of 5 to 8+ inches of rain falling since Monday night in an area that is not only reeling from devastating floods just over 2 weeks ago, but also from the floods that happened a year ago this month.
Oh, it's so bizarre. I've never seen anything like it, and I keep going outside and walking around and just it's just insane.
The National Weather Service says several water rescues and evacuations have occurred in the affected areas. Vanessa says she is just grateful they're all okay.
We have water. We have everything. We're really very lucky.
The town of St. Johnsbury is asking people to stay inside today so that the emergency crews can continue assessing the damage. Anyone needing help getting around should call police. Reporting for NBC 10 Boston, I'm Carla Rojo.
Cities in the Northeast Kingdom assess the damage wrought by severe flooding overnight. They've sent in photos and videos of the shocking sights they've come across. Let's take a look. The wettest day in history for St. Johnsbury after more than 8 inches of rain fell from Monday into Tuesday. A shocking sight on the Lamoille Valley Rail Trail. Bob sent us this video from just about a mile west of the trail's end. A tough go of it for the rail trail after flooding earlier this month and a rebuild after flooding last summer. Raven found herself unable to cross Concord Avenue in St. Johnsbury after it washed out completely and filled with debris. On Gilman Avenue, the road narrowed by rushing waters. More damage in St. Johnsbury. Alexander took this on Farmer Drive. Trees, pavement, and other infrastructure washed away. What looks like a field of rubble is the remnants of Mount Pisgah Road in St. Jay. At Dog Mountain, neither dog nor man is any match for this massive ditch carved into the road by floodwaters. Down the road in Lyndonville, Valerie was on Burrington Bridge Road and snapped some serious damage. Further north in Island Pond, part of Route 105 impassable after a washout. In Burke, a car caught in the crosshairs. Nancy sent us this shot on the brink of disaster. But as communities across northeast Vermont deal with yet another round of devastating flooding, Vermonters are making do, like this family of ducks paddling around a flooded yard in Wood.
Oh, what a cute ending. People are making do, like the family of ducks. You see that kind of destruction? Okay. Flooding in Lyndonville, Vermont. So this apparently took place today, or the video is today. Is anybody else kind of shocked by the amount of destruction that has taken place? That, you know, this is your severe weather today, which is common. It's common. It's happening all over the country. Well, that's pretty devastating. You know what is hard for me to even fathom is that I didn't see this kind of weather taking place in Vermont on radar.
Yeah, good evening. We've seen pure devastation here in Lyndonville and in other communities across the Northeast Kingdom. Now, right behind me was Red Village Road in Lyndonville, but as you can see, it's been completely wiped out. Now, this, of course, is just the latest blow to the community after the flood 3 weeks ago. The Northeast Kingdom woke up Tuesday morning to historic rainfall.
It was running so loud that you couldn't even hear yourself think.
The rising sun revealing the destruction.
It's traumatic.
Houses on Mount Hunger Road split in half and careened into the mountain brook. This homeowner's bathrobe dangling over a raging river. Nearby, a car suspended over a washout on Route 114, held up by a single utility wire. The driver tells us he's okay, just shaken up. 10 Swiftwater rescue teams evacuating people from over 24 homes throughout the kingdom, even by helicopter. Some, like Kathleen Murphy, couldn't return to their homes for hours.
That's my tiny house right there. That thing that's kind of tilted over.
She was renting out her dream home. The tenant bailed out and fled to her neighbor's home minutes before it was swept away.
This just reminds me of how vulnerable and precious life is.
From above, the valley is completely caked in flood mud. Washed out culverts, catch basins, and piles of mud made for numerous road closures.
You ever seen anything like this? About 3 weeks ago. But other than that, no, I haven't seen this in my 30 years I've been alive.
The flash floods also wiping out local businesses who were still reeling from the deluge 3 weeks ago.
And it's devastating. It's took our whole warehouse out, all the bags out of the warehouse, shavings. And it's going to have to be completely gutted.
While the community salvages pieces of their homes and what's left. The cavalry of rescue crews and utility workers dug into work. Some giving their colleagues a lift to clear tangled power and fiber lines and trying to restore power to the community following the catastrophic flash flooding. that happened in the pitch black.
I'm very surprised to see that we haven't had any fatalities just because everybody was sleeping.
And technical rescue teams ending the day rescuing 2 families. They're
Overnight, in the dark, it comes about. Wow. Well, Vermont flash flooding. Up to 8 inches of rain destroys homes, destroys roads, literally just washes away homes. Come on, start, please, somebody question what is taking place. This is weather warfare. This is weather warfare. Thank you, Awakened Sleeper. I sometimes feel like I'm just talking to myself. What are these people going to do, right? So you have all of these evacuations going on, and on the West Coast, the fires, people losing their homes due to the fire. You got, in Vermont, a whole lot of destruction, people losing their homes, just falling off cliffs, and this is big stuff. Big stuff that I hope never happens to you. Big stuff that people know because it has happened to them. Some have had it happen repeatedly. It's And here, these people in Rancho Palos Verdes in California without gas service.
A Rancho Palos Verdes neighborhood left without gas.
We're trying to figure out what to do.
Leanne Twiddle says she and her husband have called the Portuguese Bend community home for 50 years.
So the idea of moving is absolutely overwhelming. We raised our 2 daughters here. I'm 88 years old, so is my husband. He has Parkinson's. He can barely walk.
This morning, SoCalGas cut off service to 135 homes in the area. SoCalGas officials say the area is experiencing worsening land movement that is threatening safety and roads. A letter sent this weekend to people who live here reads in part, due to worsening land movement in your area, SoCalGas has determined it is unsafe to continue providing natural gas service in your community. This dynamic situation requires we take immediate action to protect public safety. SoCalGas says more than 600 feet of pipeline is being relocated due to the land movement, and that accelerated leak inspection intervals are being done.
I don't know if I can say the word other than pissed. I'm not scared, angry, frustrated, just looking for solutions. Now we're scrambling to get information.
Back in February,
and this is going on indefinitely. Yeah, the landslides, the land movement, that may very well be from extremely low frequencies. And I wish that people would be talking about directed energy weapons, plasma fires, the nanotechnology, but at least we have people who are coming out and saying it ain't climate change.
In the coming weeks, you're going to hear an awful lot about how climate change caused the devastating fire in Jasper last week. Don't believe a word of it. Already there are liberal MPs and environmentalists who've been saying, see, this is what happens when we don't get our emissions under control. We need electric vehicles, we need wind turbines, we need solar panels, we need heat pumps instead of furnaces. That's not what caused it. What caused this was woke environmentalism at Parks Canada. For nearly 25 years, Parks Canada has been refusing to thin out dead trees in Jasper. By last year, 44% of all the trees in Jasper had been killed by a mountain pine beetle infestation. And Parks Canada just let them stand there. They were like giant matchsticks.
I'll post the link to this video. Yeah, well, but then you also have to take into account all of the geoengineering that is taking place. That is making everything, wow, incendiary. Magnitude 4.9 earthquake shakes Southern California Barstow.
County. It was first recorded as a magnitude 5.1, but quickly downgraded from that. Scientists looked at similar events with a magnitude 4 and greater within about a 6-mile span of there. They say they've had 22 similar incidents since 1932, the largest being a magnitude 5.3 quake in 97. Now, we just had the chance to speak to UC Riverside professor of seismology, Gareth Funning, who weighed in on what this could mean.
It's not a very big earthquake in the grand scheme of things. It's around magnitude 5. So it will be felt regionally, but it won't cause much damage regionally. One thing we should be careful of is to dismiss the possibility that there could be a larger one to follow.
Oh, and let's laugh about that. Oh, wow. Large train derailment on the Union Pacific Railroad near Glidden, Iowa. I don't think there was any hazmat. It wasn't a hazmat event, but yeah, there are trains, man. The Long Island Railroad train hits car in Manorville.
This is breaking news. This is breaking news.
There's currently no service on the Long Island Railroad east of Ronkonkoma. This is all due to an incident in Manorville. This happened at the intersection of the mainline tracks and Wading River Road. An accident between a train and a vehicle at that Wading River Road intersection. There we can see the vehicle off to the side of the tracks. There are police, fire, and other first responders at the scene of this accident. We can see the train just a little bit farther down the tracks. We're told the train was traveling eastbound. Now, at this time, currently, the gates are up. We do not know at this time whether the crossing gates were up or down at the time of the accident, but currently, as things stand right now, they are in the up position. Again, service suspended east of Ronkonkoma. There were some initial reports of people trapped. We do not know if that was in relation to the train or the vehicle. Also unclear at this time what injuries may have been related to this accident. Again, no service.
I just want to point out, you have to wonder if that car, they're all white cars. That's weird. But if that car, if the driver did it intentionally, because it looks like that driver for sure could have seen if a train was coming by. But when those trains don't run on Long Island, that causes a whole lot of people frustrated, inconvenienced. Fort Bend County, this is Texas, plans to control bug population by spraying mosquito pesticides through plane. And I'm sure that's going to be great for your health. It's the West Nile they're going after.
There is an abundance of mosquitoes. Locally, some have even tested positive for West Nile virus.
Yeah, that number is exploding. Locally, some have even tested positive. So what's being done to control the mosquito population? Some counties now getting ready to take the problem on from the air. Stephen Goen is live from Fort Bend County with more on that. And what should people expect, Stephen?
Well, Len, Mia, we're about to show you what some people can expect on Thursday in Fort Bend County. That's the day the county plans to use a plane to spread a mosquito control agent. They've done this in the past, and they hope it helps again this year.
I always worry when they're spraying these pesticides, what's going to happen to the health of those below. So, what is about to happen is going to destroy us, and there is no way to stop it. All right, just a few minutes. Gregory Mannarino, the economy, you do know, they're going to pull the plug. They might do this before the election or right after the election just to cause more violent chaos.
Talk to you guys and girls about something. We've touched on this before, but I really want to open this up so you can really get a handle or an understanding on why what is about to happen, and we can't stop this, there is no way to stop it, period, is the absolute worst thing that could possibly happen to all of us. We understand. Let's just start off with this. Tomorrow is the big day that this market has been waiting for. What's the Federal Reserve going to do with regard to, announcing that they're going to be cutting rates? The Fed is buying it all right here and right now. That's why we are witnessing this action in the debt market that it's insane what we're witnessing here, but no one's opening their mouth except you and me to kind of expose the lie. That is, we're watching a phenomenon occur here in the debt market, and it's not getting the attention at all, especially from the mainstream media. Well, they're not going to tell you the truth anyway, but some entity out here is buying epic sums of debt, pushing the yield curve low with a 10-year yield, and I'm going to give you one guess as to who that is. So tomorrow we're going to hear from the Federal Reserve on its monetary decision, whether or not they're actually going to make it publicly known that they are actually in here manipulating the debt market, and
we know exactly that is right. They manipulate the whole market. It's rigged. Don't people get that at this point? All right, things are not good. Yeah, I don't know. Retirement crisis in America due to Social Security benefits not keeping pace with inflation. We've got an awful lot of seniors, elderly, who are freaking out as I speak.
Retirement crisis in America due to Social Security benefits not keeping pace. Today, I read an article on FoxBusiness.com written by Megan Henney, titled, "Social Security benefits are falling short. The problem could soon get worse." The author of this article referenced new research published by the Senior Citizen League, which revealed that Social Security benefits have lost 20% of their buying power since 2010. On average, payments for retired workers would need to rise by $4,440 per year or $370 per month to compensate for that lost value. The study confirms that prices older consumers are paying have outstripped cost of living adjustments, leaving many on the edge of financial distress. Well, my friends, I hate to hear about this. There are countless Americans who rely on Social Security income to survive. Unfortunately, that is all the income that some people have. Many didn't work for an employer that provided a lifetime pension, and they weren't able to save for retirement on their own.
Yeah, well, oh my God. Link to the Social Security video, Cecilia? I will post it. And I'll post Gregory Mannarino's video. They're both in the chat. Wow. Yeah, so listen to this. Oh my God. This is, wow. I think this is like so American.
Every day in Minnesota, someone is in crisis and they are picking up the phone to ask for help.
We recently showed you how mobile crisis response teams are answering those calls, including from people thinking about suicide. Those life-saving services are supposed to be accessible to everyone.
But Fox 9 investigator Nathan O'Neill found out if you live in Ramsey County, you could get stuck with a bill in what turns out to be a costly crisis.
It's a billing policy few people are even aware of. Ramsey County charging people in crisis after calling for help, some of them in mental distress and even suicidal. And we've learned the county has been billing people for years, a practice that mental health advocates say undermines everything. It's supposed to be a lifeline.
I think it's unconscionable.
Helping people in crisis.
Absolutely makes no sense.
But in Ramsey County, it comes with a price.
Lives will be lost. That's my fear.
Why did you want to share your story?
You know, it's not about me getting the bill myself. It's literally about the fear that somebody won't call in the future.
Adam Hated is doing his best to balance the stresses of life, work, and his mental health.
I got really depressed. Really, like, I'm getting to the end of my line here.
In a recent interview, he recalled one day in January when he was on the brink and contemplated suicide.
I felt that I'm not going to make it.
I mean, he says, Mom, I need help.
And I started crying.
He says, Mom, I can't do this anymore. I can't go on.
I locked myself in my house.
And I could tell in his voice
I didn't have a way out.
That he was in crisis.
I was honestly scared about if I was going to be alive in March. I'll just flat out say it.
A family friend called the Ramsey County Crisis Hotline, seeking help from the mobile crisis team, which provides on-site mental health services. How are you doing now?
Now I'm doing 100% better.
But months after that call for help, Adam got this in the mail.
I was very surprised when I saw this.
It was a bill from Ramsey County Social Services for $342, charging him for crisis intervention services plus travel time. Did they ever tell you that there would be a bill?
No, absolutely not.
A check of the county's website makes no mention of any cost when calling the crisis hotline. But records obtained by the Fox 9 investigators through a public records request reveal over the past 3 years, Ramsey County has billed more than $1.1 million for mobile crisis intervention services. The county billing insurance providers, but also patients like Adam.
Lives will be lost. That's my fear. My fear is that if people are afraid to call, and they don't, and they choose when, people will lose lives.
The Fox 9 investigators interviewed mental health experts, advocates, and stakeholders, all stunned to learn Ramsey County is billing people in crisis. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
I have not.
I never have, and I think it's totally wrong to bill the individual.
It shouldn't be that way.
If the other counties don't charge and Ramsey County charges, well then what's wrong with that picture? I mean, really, what's wrong with that picture? That's terrible. And they should be ashamed of it.
In fact, neighboring Dakota, Washington, and Hennepin counties all do not charge patients directly. Will individuals who need those services get billed?
Oh, absolutely not. So there is no co-pays, there is no out-of-pocket. The county or these resources will bill insurance where we can, but there's no cost to residents.
There are 412 people. And in Minneapolis, we recently rode along with the Behavioral Crisis Response Team. They serve the state's largest city, and it's...
All right, you can watch the remainder of this. It is, yeah, so American. Hey, we can make money off of this. And dude, man, so everybody who wears a checkered shirt now is like acting, and we're being gaslighted, and this guy really wasn't depressed, he's just bullshitting. What about all of the guys? What if he wore a solid colored shirt? That would be okay? Yanessa is, I saw that, you know, I mean, you see a plaid-colored shirt, and in capitals, here's another plaid-colored shirt. What is... LA considering guaranteed income program, so everything is going to be A-OK. All right? Everything's going to be A-OK.
3 LA City Council members are pushing to expand a guaranteed income program and help more Angelenos pay their bills.
They say a basic income test during the early part of the pandemic was a success and is ripe for expansion. KTLA's Alina Abovian has more on their new proposal from downtown LA.
Good afternoon. Well, this initially launched as a pilot program right after the COVID-19 pandemic to help struggling families living in extreme poverty. So the goal now is to extend it to people who are in abusive domestic partnerships and also children who are trying to transition out of foster care. Now, this is called the Big Leap program and initially was introduced in 2021 by Council member Curran Price. The pilot ran for 12 months from January of 2022 until March of 2023. It provided 3,200 households within the city of Los Angeles living in poverty with $1,000 of cash each month guaranteed income. At the time, it was considered the largest guaranteed basic income pilot program in the country, a $6 million investment which expanded to nearly $40 million. According to the city, a report reveals that families were able to use that money specifically for emergency expenses to pay for better quality food, for school costs, and for clothing for kids. The study also revealed that recipients were more likely to get better jobs while on the program and seek help, those people who were in abusive relationships.
And the government is going to be taking care of all of us, so we shouldn't worry. Have no fear. Government is here. And here, yeah, I mean, it's already too late, but it's never too late to create community, to get out there and try to create community, to help those in your community. That it's never too late to do.
So in tonight's video, we're going to be discussing cryptocurrencies, digital currencies, stable coins, but ultimately talking about a cashless society. Now, a lot of people are saying we need to fight this system, do something about it, try and gear ourselves up in a way that will prevent the ultimate outcome of being in a cashless society, locked in, taxed, traced, all the stuff that will ever happen that is like the tyrannical, terrible things that could ever possibly come to our imaginations. Now, what I find very interesting about this topic is that most people are waiting for like something to happen that they can fight against. Like that's what like I hear a lot is people are saying we need to stand up against this, or we need to prevent it from, like we need to condition ourselves to prevent it from taking place. And so I find that very like almost kind of comical in a sense, because like I think, well, what are you going to do? Like what are you going to do to stop it from happening? Because it's going to take place one day. You're going to turn around and you're going to be like, oh crap, I'm in it. I'm already in it. It's already too late. And so you think about it, it was just like, so how could this system like just sneak in and all of a sudden just be there? And you just turn around and, oh crap, I can't get out of it. All right. Now, I'm not going to read deeply into this speech. I just want to read a section from it because I think this part of this speech is really telling about what we can expect from the Federal Reserve and the monetary system. Now, listen to this. This is a voting member of the FOMC. I'll tell you who it is and when he said this in here in just a second, but I just want to read the speech and then talk to you about it. So thank you everybody who's joining in. We got 85 people already. Go hit that like button. We'll get a lot more people in to talk about this. This is going to be a very important video to discuss because this is coming. All right. It says, I disagree. This is the speech. I disagree with the notion that stablecoin issuance can or should only be conducted by banks simply because of the nature of the liability. I understand the attraction of forcing a new product into an old, familiar structure. But that approach and mindset would eliminate the key benefit of a stablecoin arrangement. That is that it serves as a viable competitor to the banking organizations in their role as payment providers. The Federal Reserve and Congress have long recognized the value in a vibrant, diverse payment system, which benefits from private sector innovation. The innovation can come from outside the banking sector, and we should not be surprised when it crops up in commercial context, particularly in Silicon Valley. When it does, we should give those innovations the chance to compete with other systems and providers, including banks, on a clear and level playing field. To do so, the regulatory and supervisory framework for payment stablecoins should address the specific risks that these arrangements pose directly.
All right, I'm going to post the link. You can listen to the talk, but those who are posting on finance and the economy are alerting all of us to the fact that a whole lot is happening at a speed that, you know, we know there is no way to stop this, and it's going to hit us like, it's going to be bad. So, sometimes I shouldn't look at the chat. But, so if somebody wears a plaid shirt, that means they're a gatekeeper or a crisis actor. Just a plaid shirt. So Yanessa is a gatekeeper. The guy that was talking about, you know, his depression, wearing a pink plaid shirt, I guess he's just lying. He's a Mason. Are we really going to go down that road? Really? Two drivers kill each other in Inland Empire road rage shootout. A whole lot of people are taking out their guns.
Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan has the tragic details.
It could have been so incredibly simple, but unfortunately we have two people who lost their lives instead.
What started out as a simple traffic collision ended with two frustrated drivers shooting each other, a violent end to yet another case of road rage on SoCal freeways.
We all get angry on the road sometimes, especially these days. There's so much traffic out there and so many things going on, but this is a great example of how things can go wrong so quickly.
It started out on the 210 freeway on Saturday evening in Highland. A guy riding his motorcycle lane splitting, accidentally clipping the side of another car. But that motorcyclist didn't stop, and the driver he hit decided to take off after him. The pursuit lasting for about half a mile, ending in this parking lot on Baseline.
When they arrived in that parking lot, the man in the sedan, the suspect, began yelling at the motorcycle driver. They became confrontational. They were both armed, and a shooting occurred, and both of them ended up deceased at the end of the night.
What's even more shocking, deputies say the driver of the sedan had his two small kids in the back seat.
And a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old were in the back seat of the car. Thankfully, neither of them were injured.
But because of all of this, they no longer have a father.
That's correct.
Hello, I'm Mark.
Wow. Yeah, Awakened Sleeper, I have plaid shirts too. I guess I have to get rid of them. Person found dead inside metro subway tunnel. Okay, I'm just pointing out that we've got an awful lot going on. A whole lot of people want to say everything on mainstream media is just bullshit. Okay, well that means we have a seriously screwed up society if mainstream media is just posting bullshit. I understand that they do post bullshit, but a whole lot is going on. A whole lot of violence is going on, and dead children and kids being found dead in swimming pools, and dead people being found on the side of the road, or in this case on the metro subway in the
A person was found dead inside of a Metro subway tunnel in Studio City over the weekend. Firefighters found the body Saturday afternoon in the Red Line Tunnel between Universal City and North Hollywood. LAPD says the 30-year-old person was trespassing at the time and that it is possible he was electrocuted on the tracks. Metro issuing a statement reminding people never to walk on the train tracks or stand behind the yellow line on all rail station platforms.
Well, yeah, that's probably good advice. Pedestrian killed in chain reaction crash in East Harlem.
Heart-stopping surveillance video shows a white Mercedes-Benz barreling through an East Harlem intersection Monday afternoon, smashing into a grocery cart full of bottles, narrowly missing a woman. The Mercedes then rear-ends a parked SUV, which lurches forward, fatally pinning a 51-year-old man between two vehicles.
I was sitting in my living room and all of a sudden I heard a big bang. It was so hard.
Gloria Robinson heard the jolting sound and ran out to the corner of East 105th Street and First Avenue. She watched as first responders tried saving the unconscious victim with severe leg trauma, but he died at the hospital.
All I could see is people trying to get him out, and they laid him down on the ground.
I ran over there and I said, oh my God, that's family.
Detectives say the driver, 51-year-old Angel Melendez, was changing lanes at a high rate of speed when he lost control. Mounted
at a high rate of speed? Do you see the speed that car is going? Okay. Yeah, we've got a lot of crazy people, and unfortunately, they're really doing a lot of damage. Albuquerque man sentenced for shooting wife at Walmart.
The man accused of shooting his wife at an Albuquerque Walmart will spend 15 years in federal prison. Court documents state 66-year-old Maurice Lacey walked into the break room of the neighborhood market on Cutler near San Mateo back in 2022 and shot the woman in the back of the head. He had a restraining order against him and was convicted federally on a gun possession charge. Lacey's state charges were dismissed to allow that federal case.
I guess we don't have speedy trials anymore. 2022, and he's just been sentenced with a 15-year prison sentence. But yeah, I mean, it's just a wow what's happening to our country. Residents want RVs removed from Pacific Coast Highway.
Dozens of RVs being parked. Now at 10:30, dozens of RVs being parked along Pacific Coast Highway for days, weeks, and in some cases even months. And residents say enough is enough. They say the RVs pose a health concern along that scenic stretch of coastline, and they want them moved as soon as possible.
Chris Wolf is live in Malibu with more on the growing problem. Chris.
Micah and Sandy, those RVs and campers are near us. Behind me, lining PCH through Malibu and Pacific Palisades. As you said, many residents say the vehicles are part of an exploding homeless encampment that is dirty and dangerous. If you drive along Pacific Coast Highway in the Pacific Palisades area, you're bound to pass lines of RVs and campers on either side of the highway. One woman who travels here frequently says the number of these vehicles has been exploding in the last couple of months. She's not alone in calling for Governor Gavin Newsom to follow through on his recent directive to state agencies to clear homeless encampments from state land. His order follows a U.S. Supreme Court ruling allowing cities to enforce bans on sleeping outside in public. Newsom.
Oh, what is going to happen to all of us? What's going to happen to all of us? We're not moving in a good direction. Violent night in Brooklyn with 4 people shot in under 1 hour.
It has been a violent 24 hours across New York City. Police are investigating nearly a dozen shootings, including 4 in Brooklyn overnight. Eyewitness News reporter Lindsay Tuckman is live in Crown Heights with the latest on all of this violence. Lindsay, good morning.
Charlene, it is a particularly frightening statistic that you just mentioned there. 4 people shot in Brooklyn in nearly an hour, part of a string of nearly a dozen people that were shot across the city in about 12 hours, and all of them still under investigation. The latest incident that happened in Brooklyn happened on the street behind me here. You can see police are still here on the scene as this investigation continues into this latest incident here in Crown Heights on Rochester Avenue and Lincoln Place. According to NYPD, a 43-year-old woman was shot in the leg around 1:40 this morning. At this point, we don't know the circumstances that led to the shooting, but people in the neighborhood do tell us they believe it happened inside an apartment building. But again, that's still under investigation. Then right before this one, at roughly 1:20 in the morning in Brownsville on Sutter Avenue, another shooting. 2 people were shot in this one. A 64-year-old man was shot in the leg, and then a 35-year-old man was shot twice in the leg and once in the arm. And then around 12:50 a.m., another shooting, the first one in this string on Crook Avenue in Flatbush. It was a 21-year-old man this time who was shot in the hand. Again, the investigation ongoing in that shooting, as well as the 3 others that I mentioned. All 4 of those people that were shot in these shootings that happened overnight in Brooklyn were brought to the hospital. We're told they are in stable condition, but so far...
Migrants? Crazy people? When you think about the cities and what a whole lot of us know that's coming, it is, well, you just do your best, right? There are an awful lot of people who want to get out of the city, New York, but they can't. There's an awful lot of people who want to get out of other cities, but they can't. Stuck.
No arrests.
And I happen to have a lot of compassion for them. Americans warned to be cautious after cartel arrest. Americans are being warned to be cautious everywhere. So, tensions rise in Southport, England, during a protest against the murders of 3 young children. By a migrant? I didn't know, because I wasn't hearing who was the perpetrator of this, but people are angry, and boy, is this only going to get worse.
We got to capture it, innit?
So this is against the police, and here protests have turned into violent riots in Southport following the stabbing of a dozen plus children. 3 have died.
were brutally killed in Southport, the third of whom, a 9-year-old girl, passed away this morning. The two other girls were aged 6 and 7. They went there to dance along to pop star Taylor Swift. Now they're gone. 8 other children suffered stab wounds, 5 of whom are still in a critical condition, alongside 2 brave adults who were injured trying to protect the youngsters. And today, the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, was heckled in the streets as he laid flowers at the scene in Southport.
Time to change, Starmer. Come on, needed. How many more children? Is it mine next? Got your photos, off you go. Make a real change, Prime Minister. Make a real change! Children! Go away!
I just found out my friend's 9-year-old daughter was killed.
You don't want this!
I don't think they like their new prime minister. And a machete attack, machete fight in Southend-on-Sea. So, was this in England? Southend-on-Sea? Anyone know where this is, but does it really matter? Well, all of that, you know, is just going to ramp up. American consumers feeling more confident in July as expectations of future improve. That was a big change. What happened in July that gave the American consumer confidence? That is a bullshit propaganda piece. And this, you know, I shouldn't even go here, but I did. Harris and Trump in a statistical tie. Anyone believe it? I don't want any of them. I'm out of the matrix. I stopped. My last vote was 2008. Done. After, yeah, stupidly giving Obama the benefit of the doubt, and I got immediately the first week that he was in that office. Okay, he's just a lying piece of shit, just like all the rest. You're gonna tell me now we have a big red team that is rah Trump. You're gonna tell me that Harris, Kamala, is in a statistical tie with Trump? Oh, yeah, talk about fake news. Harris holds a strong lead among women with 49% compared to Trump's 42%. Among black voters, Harris commands a significant advantage at 67%, while Trump trails at 22%? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I've seen way too many black Americans, these videos that come out and posted on YouTube, TikTok videos of black Americans who do not want Kamala at all. Her popularity reaches record high. I can't play this. Are you kidding me? The totalitarian tactic of the smear has no place in our national discourse. Say it all you want, but that's what we are exceptional at, smearing people. Ordinary Americans and those mainstream media reporters and the politicians, that's what we never grew up. We're still in junior high school, smearing one another. And holy shit, Israel just bombed Beirut. Yeah, that goes on, as we know. Right? Okay. I'm especially tired. I haven't had decent sleep in a very long time, and I'm really feeling it now. Please, develop yourself, establish yourself as a trustworthy human being. You know, work on growing up. A whole lot of Americans have just been socially engineered to remain children, teenagers. Develop some kind of community. You need it. I was talking to a subscriber today, and I was inspired. You know, how many times have I said, it's like there's nothing inspirational anymore. Just listening to her with all of the work that she has been doing in her community and others working, you know, with her. It's inspiring. They got a solar farm stopped. And yes, when you come together, you can meet people and then you network, and then the community, okay, you had a success here, but the community stays intact. That's the good thing. So the community is also helping others in need. That's what needs to be done. It's wonderful. And my hat is off to that subscriber. So, live honestly and speak honestly. It's the only way that we can manifest anything different. I've been saying it for a long time. And it is absolutely our responsibility as part of the human race. Whether you take on that responsibility, that's up to you. It's your choice. But considering what we are facing, you need community to survive a little bit longer. Yeah. It is absolutely 100% essential, because individuals, or, you know, an individual family without community, sorry to say, with what we are facing, it's going to be very difficult. Very difficult. All right, so, yeah, I need some good sleep tonight. Hope to God I can get it. Life. It feels hot as hell. All right, guys. Thank you for showing up. Hope to see you tomorrow night. And on that note, good night and good luck. Ciao.